What's up, everyone? Today we have a generator here. Let's see here. The way you're looking at it is literally the way I got it too. So the description on the internet was 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton generator, 2500 watts. So far that's good. Runs, but no power output. So, okay, these are usually a tapered shaft, and those are a little rough to really change. You can, but you would have to mill it down and cut it down and disassemble the whole engine and take out the crank, and it just is a lot of work. So I generally don't buy these things for the engines for repurposing. Now if I have an extra power head somewhere, or I have a generator with a bad engine that the power head could go on, that's a different story. That's pretty rare though, because to take these off is a not a easy thing sometimes. It could be quite aggravating, let's put it that way. But the picture that I saw was literally of it maybe like this, just with a different background. And I want to say, when I looked in here, it's a little hard to see without the light on, but everything doesn't seem cooked. These little ties, they all seem to be tied. There may, let me get a flashlight over here, be one area that looks a tad on the dark end. And that's right there. But it doesn't quite seem too bad. There's some spider webs and crap in there though. But it's 20 bucks, and the other part of the description was that it doesn't have any feet, so this is literally just sitting directly onto the frame. So I know I have the rubber feet somewhere, and I'm sure we'll have to alter them in some way or another, because no one likes to keep the same thread for anything. So I think the first thing I want to do is anchor it somehow, probably with the feet, and then check the engine, make sure it's a good engine at least, and then we'll diagnose the power head. I'm hoping that it's this. This likes to go out. So what you do is you take it out, and there's a series of numbers on there, and you end up having to try to find the same one that's compatible with this type of engine. And then once you do that, you just replace it and it should start. This is a brushless motor, so I do not believe flashing it's really going to help. I'm still going to try it though, just to make sure, but pretty sure that's not going to be the problem. It's a pretty simple generator. I mean, it's not like rewiring the space shuttle or anything, but I'm hoping it's that. If not, then I have a whole bunch of parts for a Briggs & Stratton engine that maybe in the future I'll keep, and when I buy a lathe I will just mill it down or change it in one way or another. That's years in the future. So it's first things first. I'm going to put some feet on this thing, bring it back once it's anchored down. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just find the holes and put feet on. One of the things I do like to keep around are the feet. These are pretty cheap. I think this is like $6. When I buy one set, I usually end up buying a second one for myself because it's just better to have them on hand. I'm still going to order some, but I'm going to just install these. They're simple. They just have like a screw head on the top, and you just put the nut on wherever the hole is on the frame, attach it. It's, like I said, not rocket science. Man, that took like 3 times as long as it rightfully should have. The engine part, this was too short. It's actually pretty thick base. So I ended up taking a piece of this and welding it to the bottom, or the top of the feet. So now it can actually fit. So it's literally been like an hour. Because in addition to that, the feet that came with it were glued on, and then scrape all that off. It was just a giant pain. I think we're at a good place now, though. So let's do that. We're on and choke. Well, at least he's right on that one. The back plate is not exactly on right, so I'm going to put that on there, tighten it up, and we'll check for power. Let's try this again. Put the cover on. One of the screws is not wanting to play well, so, and the little housing it's supposed to sit in, it's kind of on its last leg, so I don't really want to jam it in there quite yet. Especially if we take apart the head or whatnot, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. I have a drill plugged in. There's tape around the handle, so if it's on, it should go. Let's try. Choke on. Yeah, exactly what he was saying. No power output. What you just saw me do is called flashing it. Yeah, every electric motor is kind of like a generator. I spun the drill manually, try to create a small electrical charge, then go in. Like I said, 99% of me says it's a brush motor that needs that. This is a brushless motor. We're not there, so we have some other problems. So the first thing I want to check is that little resistor. Okay, so no power is coming out of your generator. And I took the cover off of it. Now, this is a brushless generator. So usually if there were brushes, they'd be somewhere around here, and it's just a completely separate type of system. There's only really one good way of checking this. So we're going to check the condition of the generator head itself. And what we're going to do is, right now I'm hoping that the reason why this generator doesn't have any output is this capacitor. Now, if it is, we're going to take a look at it and we'll discuss how to do this. But for the time being, we're just going to leave it in place. There's 2 cables. Let's see here. There we go. This part shouldn't be necessary, but I'm just going to mark that one. Now, sometimes there could be 4, if it's a rather large generator, or they're, this is just a very simple 2500 watt. So right now we have the 2 wires out, and what I need to do is we're going to take a multimeter and we're going to turn a generator on and we're going to see what we get. Here's a side note. If you're like me and can't find your other clips, or not clips, like the little push connectors, I just took some just generic wire connections, I forget what they were called. Just took off the plastic and just gonna insert them in there, and we'll connect to that and connect to that. And it's not like we're going to be doing, we're not going to be running across the room with it. It is spinning at 3600, 3700 RPM, so we're going to want to not do anything too drastic. We're going to want to keep it at a minimum. But on my multimeter, let's take a look. I hope the light isn't drowning us out, but what we are going to want is volts AC. That's usually like a V with a squiggly mark. Mine says AC on there, so it's pretty good. Some of them will just be automatic. Those are pretty easy. So we want to do volts AC. Now what we're checking right now is this. I've seen it range, from what I've researched, it can range anywhere between, you want around 5, but it can be as low as 3 and as high as 7. So I'm going to say anywhere in between 3 to 7 volts. Ideally 5 is where we're going to want to be. And this shouldn't take very long to do. So I'm going to put this on the ground and turn it on for 10 seconds and we will check and see. If we do not get anything, it means the head of the generator, something's wrong and it's dead. If we do get voltage, all we have to do is what I'm hoping we have to do and check or replace the capacitor. There is a slight possibility that it could just be the switch. That's a different video on that one. I checked the switch. The switch seems, or the socket seems fine. It doesn't appear to be a break anywhere. The wires are all connected, so we don't have to worry about that. So we're going to look at this multimeter and see what it reads. Okay, everyone, hold on. Let's see, on and choke. I'm just going to pull it real quick to make sure there's nothing. Obviously, we can't get caught, and there doesn't. Just very good. Okay. So hopefully you were able to see that, but that was reading 10. That's fairly high, but I also think the engine is revving pretty high too. So I'm pretty sure we have a good head. We need to continue on to the next step and look at this capacitor. So now that we're at that point, we no longer need our multimeter, so I'll just take this out, take that out, turn that off, and we're good. There shouldn't be anything else holding this in. Besides these zip ties. Now we're going to want to take a towel and just kind of clean this off. Oh, it's even cracked. I've seen it happen a lot when the throttle will get stuck open and the person catches it pretty slowly. I mean, there's not much you can do, but it will cause the generator to overproduce, let's put it that way, and these will blow. It's kind of like the purpose. But so what we're looking for, we need to find one that matches this. Could potentially look that up. Oops, probably can't see that either. But I'm not going to. The dimensions are fairly important because we want to keep that in mind. But we have a 400V to 450V. This one's also 500, about 12.5 UF. So I'm going to do a quick search on probably Amazon and see what I come up with for those specifications. So I did some research, and I mean, I found 2 or 3. Looks like it's going to be about $10. Not too concerned over that one at all. But you do want to make sure, like I said, you get one that's the right size. So the one I'm looking for was about 3.5 inches long and 1.5 inches wide. That's about this. Sometimes it will have multiple pins on here. Don't be alarmed. That's completely fine. Just connect and find one and you should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ordered. But if your generator is not generating electricity, this is probably, and you have a brushless engine, this is probably how, or the reason why. This is how you're going to check it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ordered, and we will see if this runs well after. But this is at least how you check the condition of the head of your generator with a brushless generator. It's been a couple days, and got the new transistor, or excuse me, capacitor, and have it installed. Just connect the wires. I zip tied it in, and you know, it's obviously a different color, but it's the same size, it's the same ratings, it's the same, just different branding. So I'm going to trim that up, put the side cover back on real quick, and we'll give it a test. So we got it all put back together. I have a drill that has tape around the trigger so it's always on, and I'm just going to run it for a quick second because the door's shut. But if we see the drill moving, we're set. If we don't, then well, that's bad news. Okay, so the drill moved, making power now. It was a capacitor. That's a pretty common problem on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test out the frequency of it, make sure the engine speed is good and the output is good, and I want to make sure that everything's on the up and up. But yeah, that's how you change out a capacitor on it. So we'll go ahead and work on the rest of it, but you know, it's a pretty common procedure. The door's open now. Let's take a look. No jokers. Okay, so that seems pretty good. So kind of overproducing a little bit, but rather have it overproduced than underproduced. So go ahead and change the oil, clean it up, fix out this problem we have going on there, and that should be about it. Well, if you like what you see, keep watching. Definitely subscribe. Put a thumbs up. That really helps out. I will. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good night.